So there's a phase that you're probably going to hear over and over again in this review, and I have a feeling that it may make some diehard Wes Anderson cult fans a little heated. Can you guess what it is? The Phoenician Scheme stars Benicio del Toro as Zaza Corda, or Jaja Corda. He's a wealthy industrialist and arms dealer who plans to overhaul the infrastructure of the land of Phoenicia. But it faces significant challenges, in particular a funding deficit known as the Gap. He reconnects with his only daughter, Liesl, I think it's Liesl, played by Mia Threapleton, who he sent to Catholic school to keep the boys away. And she comes back as a nun who believes that her father murdered her mother, and she wants some answers. As Corda navigates a series of assassination attempts, he strives to secure the necessary funds to complete his grand scheme from investors and family who already have a stake in the project, including his crazy brother, Uncle Newbar, played by Benedict Cumberbatch. In essence, he wants them to fill the gap, pay the money that he doesn't have. This film is lucky number 13 for Wes Anderson, I think. Coming off of Asteroid City and The French Dispatch, which were films that I really appreciated, but I just really couldn't get into them.
I thought you liked it.
I think it stinks.
I feel like I'm, and I hate to say it, a little burned out from his style. I know that's like a terrible thing to say. At one point, I thought it was a genius style, and I loved it. And maybe it still is, but it's starting to feel a little repetitive to me. Even though I think his work is aesthetically a masterpiece and a masterclass in staging and blocking. I love his tracking shots on a dolly that stop and then pan and then reverse instead of making a cut. I love that look. It's such a signature look for him that if anyone else did it, it would look really wrong. This is Wes Anderson's first live-action feature without cinematographer Robert D. Yeoman. But the film keeps its famous Anderson look and feel with French cinematographer Bruno de Bonnel, who was a great choice due to his work on films like Amelie, which had a certain almost Wes Anderson look to it, which I think that film and The Royal Tenenbaums came out around the same time, I think. But again, the camera work is beautifully done and what we expect from one of Anderson's films. The set design is, again, on point, and it's a visual masterpiece for the eyes. And it is absolutely beautiful in every frame. But, and I hate to say it, but it's kind of the same of the same of the same. It's sort of like looking at Monet's water lilies paintings. He had like 300 of those paintings, different paintings of water lilies, which are all masterpieces and priceless pieces of art, but it feels all the same to someone who enjoyed the first 200, but the next 100 start to feel a little stale. But at least Monet painted other stuff. My personal favorite films of Wes Anderson are the films that don't necessarily have these elaborate, colorful, constructed sets like The Royal Tenenbaums and Rushmore, which are two of my favorite films of all time. And they have a little bit of that look, but I also love the look of films like his first film, Bottle Rocket, that relied more on the story than the set and camera work. Again, I'm not saying that the camera work and set design isn't some of the best in the industry, but we've all seen it over and over and over again. And when I thought he really perfected that look in the Grand Budapest Hotel, I thought he would have had his next film, or at least his next live-action film, be something newer. I feel like all of these films are all in the same cinematic universe, and I love that. But at the same time, you get locked into this same style that makes the world feel stale after a while. These films are starting to feel more like theatrical plays within sets than live-action films. I hate saying this because the look and cinematography is so beautiful, but again, it's nothing new. It's nothing that I haven't seen before from him. I feel like he's doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, holding out for that Oscar that he should have won for the Grand Budapest Hotel, sticking to that same formula. I feel like some of the best directors, they do the same thing but differently. Like Tarantino, he has his look and feel, but every story is so dramatically different despite being a revenge story. Or historical revision of something, and all set in his Tarantino universe. Or Stanley Kubrick with his every frame being a beautiful shot photograph, or David Lynch with his dreamlike filmmaking. But every story is a wild ride with him. Anderson's storytelling is all starting to feel the same to me. Yeah, it's different stories, but they all feel the same. They all look the same. There's nothing really new in the story. The story is pretty dry. The Phoenician Scheme is the MacGuffin of the film, or at least the funds to fill the financial gap is the MacGuffin, I guess. It moves the film along and to introduce all these quirky characters, which are a lot of fun. But again, I've seen these characters before in one way or another in every movie Anderson has made since the Royal Tenenbaums, and to a certain extent Rushmore. But I feel like the characters in Rushmore had more personality. Everyone in these films feel like they have borderline personality disorder. There's no real feel of empathy or emotion. It feels like they're all kind of pretending.
Is this supposed to be here? It was under the lunch trolley.
Oh dear.
And again, I'm conflicted because at the same time, I enjoy a lot of it in their personalities. I've just seen it over and over again. And for this film, Zaza, or Jaja, goes on this spiritual awakening through the film, sort of guided by his daughter, who's a nun. But at the end of the film, when he's become this better man, there's no real emotion attached to it. It feels emotionally dull. The film is funny in that very dry sort of way, and I was laughing a lot throughout the film, but the story wasn't anything that I really cared about. The stakes weren't that important to me because the MacGuffin, again, in the film was uninteresting and not completely sure what it even was. If you're going to have a MacGuffin to move the story, make it interesting. Some of the best MacGuffins in film history are like the Ark in Raiders, or R2-D2 in A New Hope, Rosebud, the briefcase in Pulp Fiction. It's got to be something mysterious or interesting to hold your attention throughout the whole film. To me, a financial gap of a project consisting of a dam and train tunnels doesn't really do it for me, which is wild to me because the film has an amazing hook in the first act that really reels you in and at the same time really makes you laugh. The hook to this film was probably my favorite thing about the film. There are some black and white scenes that are cut through the film that have significance to Zaza's spiritual journey, but at times they seemed convoluted. I didn't know if they were real due to him dying and coming back to life over and over again, or if they were hallucinations, but you get a Bill Murray cameo, so that was satisfying in the moment. The film did have that Wes Anderson quirkiness that I really love. Scenes where Zaza interacts with someone new, he offers them a hand grenade randomly, which is pretty funny, over and over again.
Help yourself to a hand grenade.
You're very kind.
The back and forth argument between him and his brother with the childlike, no I didn't, yes you did, no I didn't, yes you did dialogue. It has a lot of really funny moments in the film. Everyone who's in the film is pretty fantastic, and I say that because it can be easy to be a Wes Anderson character in his universe. You have to convey a certain personality that all of these characters seem to have. This nonchalantness about every situation, these blank stares without smiles or frowns or any sign of emotion in every different kind of situation, good or bad. No one looks happy or sad, just sort of indifferent, which I get. This is the universe that we are living in for 2 hours, but again, seeing it, enjoyed it, ready to move on to something different. I did enjoy Tom Hanks and Bryan Cranston's short appearances in the film. Just a nice, dry, comedic performance from the two of them. There are a lot of cameos in this film, some that are meaningful and some that aren't, like Willem Dafoe as a character in the spiritual world called Knave, and a really wasted role opportunity for Rowan Atkinson. There is absolutely no reason for him to be in this movie. The Phoenician Scheme is a beautifully shot film that I'm sure that the cult of Wes Anderson is going to absolutely adore. It's cinematically a masterpiece and a masterclass in staging and blocking, and a masterclass in the first act structure. It's a lot of fun in a lot of areas of the film, and it has a lot of really funny dialogue that I really enjoyed. The story is pretty dry, and the story of a hard businessman on a spiritual journey isn't anything new, but I enjoyed watching Benicio del Toro and Mia Threapleton play off of each other. I also really enjoyed Michael Cera in his role. But again, this has all been done before in Anderson's other films, and that left me wanting something different. You can have a tomahawk steak every day, but eventually you're going to start craving a piece of fish every once in a while. I'm giving the Phoenician Scheme 3.5 stars because it is a fantastic film for the most part, and I really enjoyed it, but it's not something that I thought that I just had to experience, like when I first heard about the Royal Tenenbaums. The film is rated PG-13 for some violent content, bloody images, some sexual material, and smoking throughout the film. All in all, if you're a diehard Wes Anderson film buff, I'd recommend this movie. Or if you've never seen a Wes Anderson film, for those who don't know his style of filmmaking, I think they would appreciate it more. I do really appreciate this film, but again, saying it. But that's just my opinion. I'd rather hear what you have to say about this movie. Sometimes you change my mind about a film and I have to go back and watch the thing again. I love your comments, so please keep those coming. Love them. Like and subscribe if you want more on my take of all the latest films, right or wrong. And remember, don't wait till it streams. Let's go to the theater and let's see it together.
You're fired. Don't cry in my office.